Wait, wouldn't have been recording.
that would have been really funny. We're switching seats?
Yeah, is this a tick? No, just, oh wait.
Is it? No.
It's, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Hold on, baby girl.
Get it? All of it?
Yep. All right, I need a hammer.
You gonna light it on fire? Doesn't it?
Get a lighter, yeah, I'll light this on fire.
Where are you gonna light it on fire?
Look at you running. What's up?
Where does it go? What,
This-
how I run?
I said, look at you run. This tick trying to get you. Not here! All right.
It's gonna smell like burning hair.
Coach's Chat is back, baby! Episode 2. Abby's laughing because I just lit a tick on fire because we found a little ticky on Myla.
I can't believe it's like, I thought it was too cold for ticks. I found a tick on Toro yesterday.
Yeah. Daddy
That's the
got
only reason
you.
why I'm like,
Daddy got you. We're good to go. Okay, where do you want to start?
I don't know, I'm upset about the ticks.
Well, we got it.
Because
We killed
it's cold. It should not be, we should not have ticks.
it. Okay.
All right.
Let it go.
What's that?
We'll let it go.
We had a big weekend.
Big weekend.
Friday, I danced the night away at the Half Moon for the fundraiser for Greater Hudson Promise.
Yeah, so we partnered with Joan, and Joan, a member here, runs this beautiful organization, not-for-profit organization that essentially, in a nutshell, helps youth from cradle to career, and is doing such amazing things in the community. And we partnered to create a bigger impact. And this weekend was a big weekend for that, and we had this big donation goal that we're looking to help those that program, the youth. And Friday night we went to John, or you did. John hosted a
Dance party
with another member, Ted, DJing, and all the money went towards the
door. There was like a
cover.
Yeah, there was a cover that was, they gave a range, but all of that went to it.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. Like, it was a bunch of life people were there, like Angela and Dara, and that was really cool. It was also very fun. John was there, the owner, who's a member here. It's very cool.
Did you dance?
I did.
What do you got?
I was like,
You're a snapper.
that's not how I was dancing.
So then the next night, unrelated to the fundraiser, was 40 under 40. And
I was gonna say that so for you.
oh, go ahead, set me up. Go ahead.
Well, that was the big, that was like the kickoff, and then Saturday was 40 under 40, which our wonderful Shawn and a couple other people,
Kira.
which is so cool. And I think it's a really important thing to recognize. That's the reason why when I found it, I was like, we have to be a part of it. Like, you have to be a part of it, or people have to be a part of it, because I think it's 2 years. This is the second year, and it's folks like leaders in their profession that make a positive impact. And so I think that was so important for you to be there and have received that.
Well, thank you.
And you said it was fun.
It was a blast, yeah. So roll up, me and Britt go. She's my number 2. She's my better half, and man, I thought I looked nice in my suit and my blue railroad tie. It was just blue for railroad. And then, she showed me her dress, and I'm like, wow, she just looks stunning. So we show up, they had a red carpet. And so you're in this little line, and then there's a photographer taking photos. So like couple by couple, or like person by person. And I laughed at the dancing because, so it's our turn, and he takes some photos. Then he's like, all right, I'm gonna have you walk up the red carpet, and feel free to dance. I'm like, how do you walk and dance? So it was what you just did. It was like how do you, I don't know how you do that, We go in, then they had this really cool photo booth that was super special, so you could kind of throw some stuff on if you want, but you could get your photos in real time. Then the event, you go inside. The funny thing about this, and I said this to a couple people, is the food selection, right? So they had a full kind of like buffet spread. Maybe it was catered. We're like, everybody's dressed to the gills, very nice. But the food like was barbecue wings was part of it.
And if you're gonna get down and dirty, but
of course, how I think is like, all right, where's my protein? I'm like, wings, barbecue. There's fried chicken. I don't really eat fried chicken, or fried wings. So I'm like, I gotta go ham on these barbecue. So like, I get it. And Britt is just looking at me like, oh no. So like, I flip my tie over, and here I am. And they haven't done the awards yet. It's like eat first. So I'm eating. And there's no way you can't get messy. So like, my hands are a mess. And like the table of these strangers who I don't know are like, just kind of like looking at me, and I have it all over my face, my hands, and I'm like, man, I really hope they don't start the awards soon, So I thought that was funny. So then they did maybe like 15 or 20. They called us up individually to get our awards, and then between awards, or between like giving out awards, they had like a mentalist magician who just performed, and it was so cool, engaging the crowd, and it was such a cool experience, such a fun night, and it was really cool to. Of course, be recognized and share the room with other people who are doing good things in there as well, and see familiar faces like Joni and things like that. So that was great. I had a great night, and then the next day, we had a member here. Duncan was hosting another aspect of that fundraiser, a gathering, a soiree as they called it. We went there. I went there. You went there for a little bit, no?
No, Shawn ended up just.
Sean went, so your partner had ice for the event. Cocktails. So I went, and just, it was a really, again, more impact and donations at this were contributed in a really special way to go towards something really, really effective and special.
That was a really big weekend. I mean, we do events as a community, but I think it was like Thanksgiving into this.
Yeah.
I love, like, even Joni was like, she's like, I love seeing you outside of the gym and just in this casual atmosphere where, we're hanging, listening to good music, being around people, and getting dressed up a little and wearing civilian clothes.
Different, yeah. I think, who was it? I feel like it was Leslie. I could be wrong. But somebody was like, it's nice to see you outside of gym clothes, because we're always in fitness clothes. So,
what a nice little weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What's something you just can't stand?
I have to think about that.
All right, I got a few. I'll hit you with 3 to give you time to think.
I know one.
What's one?
Slow drivers.
Slow drivers. If I'm behind a slow driver, and I'm not one to like, you say that, I'm not one to lose my lid or my cool, but I'm just kind of like, if you could see smoke coming out of my nose, like, and what's funny is my partner is a slow driver. So it doesn't bother me when she's the driver and I'm not the driver, but.
Did you tell her that she's a slow driver?
She knows.
Oh.
She knows. Then another one, and this is like a more of a personal one, is when somebody is in a certain title and they think they're better than other people due to that title. Like, because they're something X, they don't stink and they're better and they walk around better, when like that energy bothers me, and it's like, I want nothing to do with people like that.
Do you think it's because we try to always, we do our best to like bring everybody
here in the, not to interrupt you, in the fitness space, in this environment, this inclusivity, sure, but maybe it's more deeper rooted values for me that I know at my core, a job title or anything like that doesn't make someone a better human being, and if you do have skills or a position of power, it's my belief that using that in, for good and still remaining like a super good human being who.
And a little
humble as well. So maybe those are just my
humble
values,
humility.
But when I see it done in a way that it comes across like pompous and just like arrogant and, that does not vibe with me.
Yeah.
And White Sox. Now here's the deal, caveat. People know this about me, White Sox. It's not so much like someone might say, Shawn, but you have White Sox on here, and these are a blend, right? This is the only pair. My mom got these for me for a Christmas, and actually they're pretty.
Oh,
they're pretty cool socks, right? From Old Navy too, so it's like, thanks, Mom. She hit a home run with these. like white socks that are like overstuffed and or just like a tube sock. Like it just doesn't look good to me.
Dude, what is so my dad would kill me, but he'll probably never see this. But for our wedding, my dad wore white socks. So he had a great suit on. Him and Shawn are so similar in that they want their tie done right.
Of course.
Pocket square.
But then the socks.
The white socks. I was like standing by. I think we were like getting photographs. I was like, Dad, you have white socks. He's like, don't say anything about my white socks. They're comfortable. I'm wearing my white socks. Nobody cares about my socks. I was like, okay. I don't know what I can't stand.
I think I can help you.
What?
Your car situation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
Mechanics.
Yeah. You know, in a broader, I can't stand when, like, people don't follow through or their word is kind of like it's empty. You know what I mean? If you're gonna say something, if you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna drop those off at 9 o'clock or something like that, and then you don't, like, that drives me nuts. Or
your word is your bond.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think like music that I don't like. I don't like sitting and listening to something that I like can't.
Give me an example.
I feel like Shawn won't see me this either, right?
You're Shawn?
Yeah.
Interesting if you don't know and you watch this. My name is Shawn, and Abby's husband's name is Shawn.
Oh,
so
yes.
the three, outside of Sal, is S.
Yeah.
Oh, S's, wow. Important men are named Shawn.
So Shawn loves different music. I won't name names, but the music sometimes, we're stimulated here.
Fish, no?
Yeah.
You like Fish, right?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No. Have you listened to Fish?
No.
Listen to Fish.
Okay.
Listen to Fish. It's a lot of like, all those Fish fans out there are gonna hate me. No, everything is stimulated, loud. We're in a club like all day long, and then I go home, and God bless him, he's so wonderful, and he cooks me dinner, and he'll listen to Fish or Grateful Dead, and sometimes I'm like,
Good. Okay. We had a challenging workout on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
This was Aaron, yeah. So Aaron programmed this. It was 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 5 rounds, max meter row. And it took us all to a special place, mentally, physically, you name it. What are some things when you're in a tough workout like that, or any workout, what are some things where you go mentally that are, I would say, more in the helpful, empowering, to help get you through? Because some folks even wrote like, man, I wanted to go home after the second one. Where it's more challenging, which I understand. Where do you go?
A couple. I for many years, I'll look to my left and my right, and I'll see kind of everybody in it, and I'm like, I know I'm in this with this person and this person, and they're giving it their all, so I'm going to give it my all. So that's kind of like one thing to kind of keep me going. The other is, you and previous coaches that have been here have said this too, like, it's only temporary. Like, it's just 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes. I'm only going to be uncomfortable for this 2 minutes, and then I'm going to be able to get to like rest. And so I'm not going to be, in this like forever discomfort, so I'll say like, get to that 2 minute mark, and you have a 2 minute rest where you can stop, and then also like almost having this, I only recently like having this almost like outer body experience where my mind like takes over, because the body's going to keep going, it's the mind. So it's however you need to do, like, stay strong, you got this, it's maybe just that very base level stuff, but just repeating it over and over. I laugh because I tell some folks have asked us recently, like, where do you go and like how do you stay focused? It's, if we were to like kill the music and just hear people's thoughts, like how funny would that be? But
wow. Yeah.
Those are a couple things.
I go really something that I'll do is, in an instance like that, I can go really micro. So I think about it like it's that analogy of how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, or how do you climb the mountain one step at a time. And I kind of live my life like that. Like, I really don't think beyond what's 6 feet in front of me, so to speak. And for better or for worse, right? Now, in this instance, example, I ate way too close to that workout. And I knew as we were warming up, like, man, I'm going to be really uncomfortable. Not sick, throw up, but just like your stomach's really heavy, you're more uncomfortable, but I can still push my body. Now I could have chosen to just like really throttle back and kind of like hit like 50%, but I don't think I have that ability within me most of the time. It's like I can call upon myself and dig in and see what I'm capable of, but I'll go really micro, like, okay, Shawn, get to 30 seconds. And I don't think about the 2-minute totality. I'm like, get to 30 seconds. Okay, get to 1 minute. And just like literally living in this, like everything is out of my focus except for this specific mission. Get to 30 seconds. Okay, then it's more, get 115, 130, and it's so micro.
That's when you're coaching, like I'll take that on too. Like if there's 100 reps of something,
sure.
It's get to 10, great. Now get to 20. You're there, you're chipping away, and that self-talk,
Yeah. So zooming back out to the gym, it's Wednesday here. What have been, if any, some in the gym bright spots, coaching or fitness, that just kind of like ripple right out right away?
Right away, this week and the last couple of weeks too, as a coach, it makes me feel so good when I can get every person in the room moving really, really well. And kind of having that aha moment of mind and body connection where I'll say something and they'll take it and they'll be like, that, holy smokes. Fahari, my goodness, I love her. She goes, Abby, whenever I'm doing anything, whether it be in the gym, out of the gym, I always remember what you say about form and, doing this and doing this. And it's like, that was years ago and it's still staying with her. So that's a really, and so today, yesterday in deadlifting, so that's definitely something that comes right to mind.
Then flip it. What about any in the gym challenges?
Yeah, I think sometimes when
coaching or fitness.
Okay, well then I'll go to fitness. I think I have to remember and I have to remember with myself that coming off of a little tweak in my back, I started feeling so good. I was doing good, and yesterday, I don't want to call it a setback, but it was just more of like, oh, okay. Well, I have to, it's a reminder that I have to continue doing my rehab things. But it can feel, your mind can go to this like dark place sometimes of like, oh man, like I do all the things, not all the things, but I do all these things, a lot of the things right, where I prioritize sleeping and movement and, almost like, why is this happening to me? But
yeah, I mean, that's a good topic too, because this isn't unique to just you. Injuries, we'll call them, are I don't want to say they're a natural, normal part of challenging your body, but they could be a part of the experience across a lifetime. Whether that's it's my belief everyone usually is going to end up having a thing. Oh, my shoulder, your back, so-and-so's knee. And some people might have multiple things. Now, I don't believe the answer is to stop and do nothing. We might need to pivot and adjust course, whether that's in the group environment, movement specific, load specific. I was even talking with a member this morning who is also coming back from something like back sensitive, about taking your ego out and really following this, it's hard, weekly build of starting back at half of what you're capable of in load. And then the next week you just add 5 to 10%, and then the next week 5 to 10 more percent. And you're checking in each time with the body to say, volume, loading, like, ooh, okay, hey, 65% or whatever you are, thumbs up, like everything's feeling great, progressing, and not jumping right back to 85, 90% plus. And we can make that mistake because I'm guilty of this too. You get a week or two where you feel great, you think you're healed. The body doesn't necessarily always work like that. Like healing is still a process that's probably happening. And I think as we get older, we're in our like mid to late 30s, and then there's our demographics even older than that the recovery time, the heal time, takes longer.
Absolutely.
And we have accrued a lot of mileage.
And I think too, a day like yesterday where it was a heavy day, we're lifting heavy for and getting stronger. I prefaced all the classes the same way because some people are like coming off the weekend. Some people were at all 3 of those events, you know. Some people, you know, so it's, you have to understand the. I don't want to say you have to understand, but I want to help you understand your body a little bit more. Where if all the stars line up and you have just like a spectacular day, awesome. But sometimes there's going to be days where.
Yeah, and I think a hard thing as a coach too, or a challenging thing I should say, and I think we've experienced this a lot, is, and within ourselves and with other people, is removing the ego. You know, we can attach our identity, we can attach a particular thought. If I don't lift X, I'm weaker, I'm insignificant, I'm not making progress, I'm backsliding, when that's not really the case. And then we remove the emotion and the ego, which is just this focus on the self, and we say, hey, there's a bigger picture here of, you know, healing and doing this for the long term versus creating more, digging further in that hole. And we do that. I know I've done that to myself, and it's, life will keep providing these opportunities to say, no, knucklehead, wake up, you know. And for us, I think that can be challenging in the coaching realm too, because we experience people who, you know, this person, and you guide them, should make this adjustment, whether it's load or tweak, and sometimes they want to see how it feels. And they bypass your best judgment. And then there's other people who will, you know, take it to a T. So that's a challenging part.
In your 12 years, have you think you heard the phrase, I just want to see, I'll see how it feels?
Oh my God. As a coach, I probably have, oh man, I'm gonna loose ballpark it to like 300 to 500 easily.
More, there has to be more than that.
I don't know. I mean,
I feel like I've heard it 300 times in like this year.
Okay, maybe I'm lowballing. Did you have something?
No, I was just gonna say, are you early or late?
Am I the type of person who's early or late? I'm usually the type of person who's usually late. Oh, and because I'm stuck behind that slow driver.
I had that moment today where I'm late too, and you blame everything else except yourself.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, I always go back to myself in the end.
In the end,
Shawn,
yeah. But
you gotta leave earlier, man. You know, da-da-da-da-da. What I find happens for me is I get into a thing and I want to follow that thing all the way through, even if it's like I start writing something or I start this project and I'm like, okay, I can cook, eat, and shower. I can cook, get my last coffee and shower all in about 7 minutes, which is probably not true. You know, like you just tell yourself these things, and then I'm running and torpedoing.
I wish
you know.
I could see, because you told me.
Ask Britt, she's seen it.
That you said, like, in the shower, you'll do something. Do you drink your coffee? Like, you said you were doing something like.
Well, this is extreme. Now you're way to throw me under the bus.
I'm sorry.
Well, there was one time I was really pressed for time, and I was making my coffee, and I needed to. So the French press takes 4 minutes to sit before you can, you know, and do that. I needed a shower, so like it was in. I just did that. Boiling into the coffee. So I took the coffee into the bathroom, put my phone on there, hit a stopwatch, showered, because my showers are like quick, you know, they're about 4 minutes during the week. And so I'm brushing my teeth, and like I remember like reaching out of the shower curtain, French pressing as I'm like finishing up my shower. There you go, yep.
I think that's so funny. That's so great.
Okay, question I thought about this. What's new rule would you, and I'll share mine because I think you're gonna like mine. What new rule would you invoke across the country, worldwide, that would just implement a change? Now here's mine. You wanna hear mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody has to drive faster. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Mine is, you can structure it different in different locations, but most people, you know how most people work a Monday through Friday and have the weekend off? No more. It's a Monday through Thursday, and Friday is a day off. Saturday and Sunday are days off, so you work 4 days and you have 3 off. And if that obviously needed to be, you know, juggled around due to like a person's schedule, they just would not work 5 days within a week. You know, they would get another day off. Even in the schooling too. So like families could have more time together. Just the space from your thing. You know what I'm saying? It would, I think that, and maybe even something work-wise too, where there is no more 12-hour day like James with his police shifts. Like, nope, 8 is the max, because you need 8 to sleep is like a good barometer, great barometer. 8 to work, and then here's time to be a human, enjoy life, recharge, be with your family, like not running this machine, so to speak. So that is my rule to make the world, or America, better.
That's nice.
Do you need time? Should we circle back?
I feel like I do, because I have 2 in my mind.
I have another one. You have one?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I do, but...
Here's another cheesy one. It's cheesy, but I think more good could come out of it, is every day, one of the first things you would have to do, not have to do, maybe with the verbiage here, one of the things to do, how we go to the bathroom and pee and then drink coffee or whatever we do, that people did was send a gratitude message to someone. It has to be different every day. So like, say I sent one to you, Abby, and I really dug in the core, and it could be a sentence, it could be a paragraph, whatever feels right. I could voice text it, Abby, I'm really grateful that I get to work beside you every day. I love sharing, space with you in terms of human being, and just like work is enjoyable, our friendship, and I really value our friendship. And you just got that. And like you wake up and you're like, oh man, this gratitude. And some days you might even get multiple, because like different people send them your way.
Oh, wow.
But it starts the day, and appreciation is another thought. So again, psychological.
Yeah.
You don't have to match these.
No, I know. I think we have to come back to that.
All right. Okay. Let's shift into. We did showers. Oh, here's another fun one before we get into some fitness. It's December 13th. There are 3 people in the world. 1, you're done Christmas shopping. You're done. This is Brit. She's done.
That started in
October.
October.
Yeah, they're done. Then there's the middle category. You just started. You're not done. You got some, but you're not done. And then there's a third category.
Yeah.
Haven't even begun. And we're 12 days out. That's you?
Yep.
I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle?
I did some yesterday, and I can't wait to see. I got this one gift for Britt. I can't wait to see her reaction.
Oh, yay.
Not what we talked about.
Well, I'm a procrastinator when it comes to that.
So you're late and a procrastinator, and you like your showers scalding hot.
Well, do you know? So I like Christmas is always like, I think back to Christmas, and I feel like my mom loves giving gifts. Loves it. So we, as a child, I got a lot of like physical gifts, which is, of course, it was like so wonderful as a kid, growing up. And then we kind of expanded that. Like we used to have big Christmas Eve dinners, and we used to do like everybody that was invited, they got like a little tiny gift like under their napkin, like that was specific to that.
That's cool.
Yeah, to the person. That was like cute. That was like a, I think in Italian culture they do that. And then it was just so big, and then all of a sudden it got really small. So Christmas is so small that it's not that I don't have anybody to buy items for, but I think it's like more about, I love Christmas, but it's more about like I love being with the people,
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But when I get into the mode, I get really excited about buying gifts for people, because like I'll see something, I'll be like, oh my god, I love it.
I still am using. This is how simple I am, and I love this. Like I love applicable gifts, right? So you got, one of the things you got me last year was like, you got me sea salt. I'm still using that. And I love that, right? Notepad.
I was gonna say they gave you a little journal thing.
A notepad. Peter last year got me this candle. It was the best candle like I've ever experienced. And I'm like, man, this is the new standard.
And it's nice when people listen, like they listen and they tell. Like Peter got me. I remember I made eggs and it stuck to the pan, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta get this pan, this fun pan." And then he got me that pan for Christmas. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, he's great. Miss that guy. Did we do showers? Shower question.
No.
Two types of people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 2 types of people. You like it scalding hot, like melt your skin hot, or you like it warm?
No, I like scalding hot, burn my skin off. I want to see steam throughout the entire, even in the summertime.
Wow.
Yeah, I just
Wild.
love, I don't know what it is. But what's even funnier, I run so hot. So last night I got home, Shawn works in ice, and so he's wet and in the freezer all day long. So I got home and I was like, hey, can you help me bring something in from the car? And he was like, honestly, he's like, can we wait a little bit? He's like, I just got warm. I turned up the heat and like literally I got home and I was like, I turned the temperature down in all the rooms because I was so hot. But I love my hot showers.
Mm-hmm.
You did cold showers sometimes, like before, right?
I have. I've ended them cold.
Oh, okay.
Ended them cold.
But
That's
you're
usually
warm.
a summer thing. I'm a warm shower guy. Yeah, warm shower, not scolding.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Unrelated.
unrelated.
Well, actually, it is related.
Related.
Being in the military, do you feel like
Maybe that set some patterns.
Is that what it is? Like
Well, that was 6 to 8 weeks of speed showers.
Oh, you didn't have to do that like when you. Oh, okay.
No, once you were in like tech school and then out of it, I mean, that you're not even thinking.
How long is the shower?
30 seconds.
What?
Yeah, and they had an acronym, I forget what it was. It was like, and in order mattered. It's like face, pits, nuts. Like don't go the opposite, It's like these are the most important, you don't gotta be, And I thought, it's funny, I remember thinking, man, this is gonna be so strange showering with 30 other guys. And the first, the flight down, it's like you're so exhausted, and then you get filed in, like it's like 2 a.m. by the time you get to bed, and they wake you up at 4, so it's like you've slept, 2 hours, and your wake up, I remember my first wake up was like, garbage down the hall, chaos, noise, get in the shower, and like you're not even thinking at that point, So it's just like, gotta do this thing, and you're not, it's like, there's not even opportunity to think like, oh man, this is, strange. It's like, no, you have an objective to do.
Yeah.
So let's shift to nutrition. I know, my little snuggle bug, Myla Rose.
I love when they dream.
She's
and
dreaming.
Yeah.
She's the best. She's the best.
Oh, that's my favorite. It's so cute.
My little sweet nugget. Nutrition. We're in a unique time period where, from Halloween to New Year's plus, people can easily put on 10 to 15 pounds. It's easy to happen. I've been working, and I've seen a lot of my nutrition clients in the past week. And this one topic we talked about, which I thought was really interesting, and even to bring here, is like peer pressure or guilt around food. Mm-hmm. Someone brings something in. They brought in a cake. They brought in cookies. And they worked hard at those things. But giving yourself permission to say no, and it being okay, and not being worried that because you're like, oh, you don't want my cookies? Like, I don't have to take that on energetically to just be like, nope, I'm gonna pass. I even told one of my clients, like, you can, be kind and take them, and then you can even throw them out later if you needed to as well. Like, I know that sounds, or give them someone else, but if you bring them home, they're likely gonna be consumed, because if it's in your world, like, oh God, those cookies are there, So, giving yourself permission to say no, to remind yourself not everyone has the same goals as you. And I think there's empowerment in standing up, and I share with them very openly, like, I remember a very strong, and there was a time period in my life where I just was like, you know what, I don't really want to drink anymore, years ago. And even in the military, there were times, and it's big in the military. And I mean, imagine the things you get called when people are like, let's drink, and you're like, no, I'm good. And it's like, to try to like, I want to pull you down to my level. And it being like, it's not about me, it's about you. And the same kind of can be in the food realm too. And standing up for yourself, not in this way of like, oh no, I'm on a diet. It doesn't have to be like that. It could just be like, hey, no thank you, I really appreciate the offer. I can even check if someone else wants it. It's like, it's that easy, But I would love if more people felt comfortable with that, because the people that I've seen and worked with, we put on this guilt, we take on this guilt. And it's very empowering to know your truth and to stand with your truth, that I don't need to say yes to appease and please people for nutrition. Yeah. Especially when it comes to things that are not in alignment with my goals.
I think that I've been talking with some of my nutrition clients as well. And then also like the opposite of like punishing yourself if you do, you know, and like if you did, you know, if you went to a Christmas party and indulged, like, you know, almost making it as this like guilt punishment the next, you know, you don't have to do that. Like if you did, and even better would be if you know that there's like a next event. This is what I was talking to one of my ladies with, is prep. You know, like how can you best prepare for knowing that you might indulge on a night, you know, and if that's the case, like what can I do for breakfast and lunch? I do a little bit more of like indulging than I would maybe, and then go right back to the same thing, and not almost like having the case of the flea bits and just let it kind of like unroll to, well, I had that night, so I might as well carry it on to breakfast. If I did the breakfast, I might as well carry it on to lunch. You know what I mean?
A nutrition client of mine asked me this. I'll see what you think, and then I'll share my thoughts on it. Is he's like, when would be the when would be the best time to have that zag, that different meal, that cheat meal, whatever you want to label it? Breakfast, lunch, you know, dinner, post dinner. Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, if you have a fitness routine, best to do it like around that. So
let's say it's a rest day.
Okay. Best would do, I would say.
Or what would you do?
That's a hard one.
You would
for
do
me
breakfast,
because...
lunch, and dinner.
No. It's hard because when I, like, how I do things is like, I don't indulge often, but when I do, like, if I know that Shawn and I are going to go out for brunch on a Sunday, like, it's like on my forefront that I want to really pay attention of what I consume, like, prior to that and then after to that, you know, and it's and then for the dinner,
before and after.
Yeah, and so then for the dinner, like, if there's dinner and I'm like, I don't know what's going to be served, you know, I'll do the same thing, like, you know, or if I'm on vacation, or you know, that sort of thing. So that's a hard question. I don't know for me, like, where, because it would vary, you know.
Yeah, what I share with them is I would, if possible, put it to the last thing you consume, and here's why. If you start your day that way, a lot of bad decisions could follow suit from that, because you open Pandora's box of sugar, or just like you keep going down that path, you overeat, whatever it is. That's, you know, thought one. Thought two is, if you put it midday, maybe I don't eat the rest of the day. So now I'm not hitting, you know, the amount of protein that I should take in, or you know, anything in that realm, like either appetite or the opposite, like I continue to overeat, right? So it just kind of throws a monkey wrench in your day. And or let's say I have something sweet that spikes my insulin, and then I'm just tired and feel like crap and lethargic. It's like, is that great midday? Like, it's gonna affect something. It's gonna affect what you're doing, who you're with, whatever that is. So why last is, okay, this is the last thing I'm going to consume. I can control everything up to that point. I could decrease. So I've worked with a lot of clients on this too. If you know you're going to zag, whether this is dinner, whether this is post dinner, is I can say, I'm going to lower the caloric imprint along the way. So I have room for whatever that is, whether it's a splurge dinner, whether it's I'm going to have that piece of cheesecake, or whatever it is. I'm mindfully lowering the imprint along the way. Then I'm done. That's the last thing I'm going to consume. So there's no extra eating after that. I can brush my teeth. I can wake up the next day and say, okay, back to regular scheduled programming. So I like that mentality, and I offered that up because, one, I had a client who we met last month, and he has a lot of vacations happening, and we planned that. And when he normally would gain 15 pounds in this time frame, he only gained 2, and it was such a win, and that was our goal.
Yeah, that's huge.
Another human is just like, hey, where would this fit in? So we talked about it, so he could reverse engineer. And just like you said, if it does happen earlier, we really have to be mindful of the rest of the shuffling of the deck, so to speak, of like what comes in before, what comes in after. And that's a little trickier for me if, like, I open my day with waffles, and, like, example, I zag with like waffles and pancakes and some bacon, and I've gotten in, like, normally I get like 50 to 60 grams of protein, let's say someone does. But then I chose a really high sugary, you know, carb-centric splurge, and I only took in about 13 grams of protein. And I have to backtrack. That's really difficult to do. So typically what we find is people will undereat their protein, they'll overeat in carbs and fats. So I like it last because it allows you to still hit your protein targets, and you can say decrease carbs and fats, knowing that's likely where I'm going to splurge.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's a when people, I think that, I don't know if you feel the same way. I would imagine that you do. Is like when people say that, they're like, oh, you know, because we're trying to do this for the long haul. We're not. Like resets are great, like the Whole30 and cutting things out. They're great for, and they have their benefits. But a lot of the times, what happens is like I feel amazing. I lose, and then once we start to bring things back in, whether it be one in moderation or we're just like I miss it so much, I'm just gonna go kind of ham on it. Everything reverses,
Yeah,
That's
and
why.
this with food and weight, it's this interesting yet I feel slightly unfair paradox where it's really easy to gain weight that you don't want, and it's really difficult to consistently lose that weight. And I don't say really difficult in the terms that it's impossible, but the discipline, the commitment, the actions, the steps. We meet people all the time, and this is a funny kind of like slap of truth where this person's been eating poorly for 30 years and then begins focusing on it for 5 months, and they're like, why am I only down 20 pounds? And it's like,
But you're down 20 pounds,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's also not forget we just had 30 years of havoc and like whatever we want. And that kind of pathway, so to speak, that jungle is a smooth, cleared out path of decisions and bad patterns and adipose tissue. That's going to take time. It doesn't just flip overnight. That's why it's difficult. That's why a lot of people struggle and don't commit.
I used what you and I have talked about. Like you brought this nugget to me, and it felt so good to pass it on to somebody else and let them have that aha moment. I was working with someone yesterday, and she was like, I was like, our session, I was like, give me some wins, and we talked about the wins, and then we. But before we even measured, I was like, tell me some things that like internally you feel, physically you feel, like, because there's so many ways to measure before. And she was like, one of the things I had this like connection with the idea that I'm ready to be the person that is going to be committed to something like this. When in the past, like it's been kind of like, I don't need it, or I don't want it, or I'm not ready. And I think that's like the one thing that a lot of the things that we talk about, where it's the person that you have to become to want to make the change. And it was so cool because when I said that, I was like, you've become the person that is ready to make the change. That's why you're going to stay committed, versus if we're a 5 or a 6 out of 10 committed, it's going to be that much harder. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get results, but it's just going to take a lot longer. And it was really cool.
Well, I'm so proud, and that's so great to hear, and like that it came into that realm. And the biggest difference maker that I see in people, and you're likely probably seeing in people too, is commitment. And what that thought when you said if you commit at a 5, you're gonna get what a commitment at a 5 looks like. And I think people speak such a soft language, like I eat well, like we talk about this all the time. I meet people all the time, they're like, I eat well, and then you find out like, no, you don't. One good meal out of 3 doesn't mean that you ate well. That's 33% of your day or less if you snack.
Yep.
It's like, that's not good. That's not a good ratio. That's not gonna lead to good health, and that's not gonna lead to the results you want. So the soft language isn't helping. And when, again, nutrition is so broad and so layered, and there's so many layers, that's why I believe it's extremely important to speak about commitment, and even the evolution of who do I need to become? Because to get to where I want to be, it's going to take a different me than it took to be where I was. And unless someone's really committed to that path, the results are going to.
And I think it, coming from a different, like my personal situation and knowing what others have struggled with, like as kids and teens, like the way that you were wired to eat, and thoughts around eating, and feelings around eating, and feelings around body image, I always try to stay, and I know you do too, like you want to stay like relatable in that, like I understand you, and there could be a little trauma or like discomfort around food and all of this. It's just, if you're really wanting to make a change, you can hone in on these small micro things, and then like with that, it's like let's take all the things that we learned and try to unlearn them and move forward. So I just thought that was really cool, and I was so excited to. She was like,
yeah, good for her.
yeah.
We'll go last one here.
Oh, good morning.
You stretching? This was a question from a member, which I love. So Matt, this is for you. This member asked, could you talk about a little bit on the members' arc of their journey experience across time in relation to progress? He's 2 years in, and he mentioned, you know, I'm still making progress in everything. Does this have like a tipping point where that like falls off, and at what time? And
That's
you know,
a good question.
It's a great question. So Matt, thank you so much. So there's so many different rabbit holes we could go down. So maybe we'll kind of go back and forth here.
Okay.
You know, my first thought is, and I've heard this from another person in the fitness space, and this is very true. If you come from doing nothing or something very different, walking on a treadmill or any form of training, and then into say like what we're doing, strength and conditioning with sprinkles of CrossFit, the first 6 months to a year are a very steep incline of what we call newbie gains. Even if there's a lot of would-be variety in the group environment, so to speak, where in the one-on-one it's more customized to the individual, and the growth is even faster because it's particular. But the newbie gains are real because there's so many adaptations happening. And if a person is being taught how to resistance train and their muscles are being challenged, and it just is like, whew, wow, fitness, strength, everything's kind of coinciding at once, which is amazing. Because if I pull away from this question for a moment, our goal is not to get somebody fit for 6 months or a year. It's to build fitness as a lifestyle. So whether it's here for life, amazing. If it's here for 2 years and then they move away, or their priorities change and they go to the gym next door, like, hey, if you're moving, like, we know we've had a positive impact. Not to start one-on-one onboarding, any form of coaching, and then 3 months, like, you're done. Like, that's not the goal. So going back, the first year is full of wonderful, rapid gains in weights, in progress, in strength, in body changes. Should you be eating in a way that coincides with your training? Okay, meaning mostly whole foods, unprocessed, adequate protein, you know, can of worms there. Year one thoughts.
That I mean, I wholeheartedly agree because of my experience and then watching people's experience. I think that's what it is, because they could come in from a sedentary lifestyle to all of a sudden they're lifting 2 to 3 times a week. They're getting their heart rate up a couple times a week, and all of a sudden, you know, week 1 could be something like, whoa, I feel this connection with my body that I've never felt before. So yes, I would say like from 0 to 3 months, and then 3 months to 6 months, and then, you know, finishing out, like, absolutely the beginner gains. Also, on the flip side, we've had people that come in here with a tremendous fitness background, Duncan. And years and years of working out. You can obviously see physically like a strong, healthy guy, but still like as coming from one type of exercise to another type of exercise, still making those gains in the first year.
For sure. And maybe part of that is layered in the form of learning new things. When you learn those new things and you have the trust and eyes of a coach teaching you and then ensuring you're doing these things correctly, if you allow yourself, you can begin to tap into what you're capable of.
Sure. Yep.
And that's very powerful. Very like, wow, I didn't know as a woman I could lift 200 pounds off the floor and get through all those like possible stories that like
I have to look a certain way.
Lifting makes you bulky, bulk, right? It makes you strong and empowered and beautiful and capable, and like allowing yourself to do that. One of my most favorite things in this journey is when you see someone's confidence change it's like unspoken. Their clothing choice changes from loose clothing to like they feel comfortable to wear like spandex pants or like shorts or gents to work out with their shirt off when it's hot. Like they're empowered. You're an empowered human, and that to me is a continued process. But so the first year is full of newbie gains where the weights just kind of climb.
Yep, and it's funny. I was going to say that around the 1 to 2 year mark is when you start to see someone kind of like go from I want to stay kind of like in this little comfort zone. Like yes, we're going to push, we're going to push a little bit, but here then it's like I think of like Lydia, like hey, let's just try this, you know, and it's like, can I? And
new territory.
Yeah. So that's the I think 1 to 2, you know.
So 1 to 2. So we'll pause on new territory. Let me go back. At what month in personal training or group do you feel most people can count on seeing tangible results?
My first thought
let's
is
say
like 3.
let's say they're consistent in training too.
3 months.
3 months, yeah. I think the same thing. 90 to 120 days, if you're looking to like, I'm gonna be fit in a week. No. If you think, I use this analogy in a post I made of like, you don't brush your teeth once and expect them to be clean. You do this regularly and consistently and give your body time to adjust to many adaptations, and you're consistent 3 to 5 times a week, 90 to 120 days, you're gonna see tangible results in your body. Even faster if you pair nutrition with that, whether that's you just begin eating better, like that one of my nutrition clients has just been picking up on seeds through dialogue, or you work with a coach. That's the fastest path. When you pair those, that's true health. Is I'm moving and I'm eating well. I'd say 80 to 90% of the time. That is the fastest path. And you know, speaking again from the most humble place, that's how I've stayed fit, healthy, strong, and lean, you know, 15, 20 years. That's the way. It's the work outside the gym and it's being consistent in the gym. Okay, back to the new uncharted territory is like the 1 to 2 year mark. Holy moly, I didn't know I could do a pull-up, or like, you know, in Lydia's example, like having the strength to do a bar muscle up, or like, which is a high skill gymnastic movement, or wanting to explore stuff on your hands, or lift X weight, right? So as you kind of like go from the stage of infancy, which is your first year, to the toddler is like the 1 to 3 year mark. Like you're still making progress. It's not as fast. It's the 10 pound to 20 pound, 50 pound, you know, progress becomes more like the 10 pound or the 15 pound progress, and things are changing and evolving slowly. Like you said, a coach can see too, I need to nudge you because you've been living at X weight or X movement for so long. Are you comfortable to stretch yourself? Because I know you have more in you. That's the like 1 year into 2, and then 2 to 3 plus, but you're still making progress.
Sure.
And if you've done a training for that long, you've built this into a lifestyle. Because again, 90 days, 120 days, you go back just to build the habit, just to get through some days are hard. Of course, they're still hard. Now, gains in the, we'll say, 3 to 6 year time frame.
I think
it's okay, mama.
I think that those are you start creeping in more so past the 5 plus, but I would say is when you start, a good day can be living within, you know, like say it's a max effort deadlift day. It's like living within 5 pounds to hitting a mark. And because at this point in time, at that 5 year mark, you've
She's adding her 2 cents.
Yeah?
Hey, it's okay. Daddy's got it.
You've hit a certain movement many, many times, so that you have like an understanding, like, all right, you know, I've done this. So if I'm living within a range now versus I'm always expecting or can, you know, see the big 10 to 50 pound jumps. And then also understanding that a little bit more, being like, oh, you know, I just came within 5 pounds of what I lifted 6 months ago. Like, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, and maybe that speaks to your mentality shifts too, because you're no longer focused on, I'm trying to best everything all the time. That can be a mentality in the beginning. It could be. when you turn into like veteran type status, 5-year plus, you know, it becomes more about the consistency and the challenge and finding the right challenge in the load or the output or your particular gear. And you don't live and die by the end result of the training. Not to say the people in the previous categories do, but you understand that there's a ceiling, so to speak. And again, I'll go relate to my experience. 12 years into this space now, like I don't necessarily, this is a mentality. I don't think of lifetime PRs and compare my back squat to my best ever back squat in 2014. I don't do that. Every year it's a refresh, reboot of the potential of this year. And you know, speaking to like the end range of veteran status, and I'm not concerned about PRing my deadlift, even if we go through a rigorous strength training cycle, and I'm not, if I get close, if I set a new best, if I lift something well with good form that's challenging, I'm pumped.
I agree.
And it's more the lifestyle of I'm doing this for longevity. I want to be active, fit, healthy for the long term. I think in this time too, the 5 to 10 year mark, you can experience bumps in the road, we'll call them. An injury, a tweak, a setback. If I think about like even like an Astrid, you know, like, you know, one of the longest tenured members, like, you know, with her elbow across time and like, you know, you adjust to the setback. Do you need to shift into one-on-one? Seti with his back, I remember a long time ago, him and we came out of group and we went into one-on-one and we helped fix his back. Tommy D, same thing, because group is this great thing, but it's not gonna fix an isolated problem. You can stay moving, stay fit, stay active if you adjust appropriately and remove your ego. But you might encounter some bumps. You might encounter like, I would hate this, but taking a break at a certain time, whether that's a week, whether that's like, I'm gonna step away, like people move, relocate, whatever, and then you pick back up. It's harder when you do that. It's harder when you fall off and you get away from the ship because your body and reacclimating to things. But going back to the purpose at the core is like a consistent movement practice to look good, feel good, deposit into your health. And I like, there's certain members that like a Georgia, it's not about besting this or that or the other. And even better when they get the values of this place and uphold them in such a beautiful way. That to me is the ultimate goal. However, it's important for us as coaches to say, hey, what's your goal right now? What's your goal right now? What's your goal right now? And the biggest things that I think, even that pertain to everybody's particular goals that are always gonna help is commitment, consistency, you know, hitting within a tangible, I can be here 3 to 5 times a week, doing the things outside the gym right more than not, you know, whether that's an 80% compliance, 70%, you gotta get honest with yourself, sleeping, and not having this be, I made this mistake, I think you have too. I work out for health. I don't work out to get better at working out anymore. You know, like, I've pushed my body to those places, and that's not even the culture I want to lead. I don't want to lead a culture that's workout addictive to mask the wrong things outside of here. You know?
And I think that's, in that, again, 5 to 8 years or 5 to 8 years plus, it's like okay to understand that goals will change. And also like really kind of hone in on what your strengths are and maybe what, you know, let's call them what they are, weaknesses or something like that, or like what you're really, really good at and maybe what you're like not so good at, or you avoid or something.
This is a great topic. I know it's here at the end here, so if people are still hanging with us, one of the best things I found for myself that I believe if people could really shift their mentality is know where you're strong and continue to keep that strong and maintain it strength. But fall in love with these areas where you're not so strong and don't skip those days. Find the smallest little improvement in those things, whether it's, I remember for me in the beginning, it was wall balls. Like, oh my gosh, and thrusters and double unders, and the relentless, like when this thing shows up, my attitude about it, a little bit, I'm not gonna tie my worth to it, but I'm gonna just make a little deposit today, And now those things, wall balls, double unders, not thrusters, are things that I love to train and have worked so hard for, and just this deep gratitude, you know? So again, that mentality, and that helps outside too. Okay, I have to do this thing I don't wanna do. Okay, all right. this is to a bigger picture thing. I gotta sit down and work on this thing. I gotta do this thing I don't want to do. I gotta have this conversation I want to have. It's okay. Bigger overarching goal. It's gonna make me better, them better, the situation better, the business better, whatever it is, and that life's better.
Yeah.
You know.
That's to tie back to the things that you said, like what's something that you think of when you're doing something that's challenging.
Way to go full circle.
I know, and it could only because it stood out. Like wall climbs for me. Wall climbs are that movement that I'm just like. Woof. But when I do them, I'm like, I can do them. Like you can do them. You can move your body through space. Like be grateful that you can like move your body like that. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna wrap up episode 2 here.
All
Myla,
right, time to crawl into Myla's bed and cuddle with her.
Myla, any shares, Myla? Do you want to share anything? Is it time to go for a cruise? Do you want to go for a cruise? You do? Well, Myla was our special guest. Even though you napped on the job, we love you so much, Myla, and thank you. And if you have questions for episode 3?
Yes, let us know.
Yeah, let us know, share, and we'll see you next week.
We like to clap.